Hello, welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks Ranunculus Assistance. This is our 11th video, I think. And today I worked last night and got this guy ready for sleeve separation. He's on barber cords right now. He's on stitch holders to kind of stretch him out. But I've gotten all the increases done. I did the video on these increases yesterday. You can find that one if you look in our series as number 10. So today we are going to do the sleeve separation. And again, these videos are not meant to replace the pattern or be used instead of the pattern. They're to be used with the pattern. So all the numbers for different sizes. I'm doing a size 5. I think it will actually be snugger on me than it was meant to be by the pattern writer. She wants this big and loose and open and awesome. I am not going through how to do this from start to finish because you should buy the pattern on Ravelry. Midori put a lot of work into this pattern. But to help you understand the written instructions, because we are doing a knit along Sun Dragon, our yarn shop. I'm Rebecca, the owner of Sun Dragon. We're doing one this April. You can do it from wherever you are. You don't have to be a customer at Sun Dragon to do this. We do ask that you consider subscribing to this channel, which is free if you like this help, or also you can be a member for a monthly subscription, or you can support us over on Patreon if you appreciate the work that we're doing here, and we thank you very much for that if you're able. So, sleeve separation, let's get to it. I should have clarified in my introduction, and I am going to put a caption on it. This is sleeve separation for the long sleeves. I've already done the short sleeves in terms of the ones I'm making, so I'm not showing you the absolute short sleeves. You would actually be binding off the sleeve stitches instead of putting them onto holders. I'm not sure if I will have the time to make a short sleeve separation video. Do your best to follow her instructions if you would just like to bind off the sleeves. She has an elastic bind off. I have a video on a knit two together through the back loop bind off. It's a little bit different. We'll see what I have time for. But right now, this is for the long sleeves, which involves putting your sleeve stitches over here on holders. And she says to do a round and a quarter because you're going to be going all the way around. You're going to be placing a new beginning of round marker over here. We'll get to that as we go. But to follow her instructions, we're at the end of round marker. And she says to knit to your two markers. She means the next marker, which is one of our sleeve ones. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll meet you over there for what we are going to do next. All right, I'm at the marker. And again, if you follow these instructions as written, she's really written them out fairly well. She says RM for remove this marker. I'm going to put it down. Bring the yarn to the front of the work. Slip the next stitch purlwise, which just means straight in. We're not twisting it. Return the yarn to the back. Slip the stitch on the right hand needle back to the left hand needle. So we wrapped this stitch, but now we're going to place, it's the stitch number that she tells you is probably going to be the number of stitches that take you over to this next marker. But she wants you to place them on waste yarn. I am going to use one of my barber cords. Brown ones are the only ones I have available at sleeve length. The barber cords come with 2 30-inch and 1 60-inch. So I'm going to take one of my 30-inch ones. And I'm going to put it on my needle. And I'm going to slip the right number of stitches over. I'll see you on the other side once I do that. It takes so little time with my barber cords. I'm probably not cutting that out, but I am going to speed up my counting my stitches here. Yep, the right number of stitches takes me right to the stitch marker. I'm going to take my barber cord off. What I do with these barber cords, once I've slid stitches onto them, is I just put them together and knot them so they won't come apart. She says to remove your next marker. So both of my sleeve markers have come off. Turn the work, which just means take your right hand and left hand needles and swap them. That turns everything around. When you turn your work, your working yarn is going to be over on the left side instead of the right side. Cast on whatever number she's telling you using the cable cast on method. Here's what that looks like. Cable cast on, and see, this is wrapped around this stitch. Just try to ignore that for now. Cable cast on means going between the first and second stitches. This should be familiar of a motion from those pull-up stitches we did in the yoke section. So go in between, wrap the yarn around like you're knitting, pull that wrap around back through, and then you're going to put this pull-up onto your left needle. You can do it straight or you can twist it. I like to twist it, so I come under and stick it on like that. I try not to pull too tight because that's one. You have to do as many as you're supposed to. For my size, it's 3. So I'm gonna go, let me do that again. I'm gonna go between the first and second, wrap around, pull up, and stick on. That's 2. And as you're cable casting on, going between the first and the second is your last pull up and the stitch before. And sometimes that can be tight, so try to leave it loose so you can get your needle through between these without catching anything. Here's my number 3. PM, place marker for a new end of round. We're shifting where the end of round is from the middle of the back to right under the sleeve here, in your armpit, basically, your underarm. I'm picking a new stitch marker color. I'm going to put that on my needle. And then you're going to cast on more, however many more she says. For my size, it's 4. Again, ignore him. Go between the first and second stitch, wrap around, and pull up and put on. So that's one of my next 4. Go between, try to ignore this marker, between the first and second stitches, wrap around, pull up, stick on. That's 2. The marker actually helps me know how many extra ones I've put on here. So again, go between the first and the second, kind of get under here like this, wrap around, pull up, stick on. I've got 3 there now, between the first and the second, wrap around, pull up, and stick on. There's my 4. Now she wants you to turn the work around again. Oftentimes for this, you might have to let go of your working yarn. But again, change hands, turn my work around. All those cast-ons I just did are now on my right needle, if I've done that properly. Now, let's get these stitches up here for what she wants us to do next. Left-hand needle, LHN, right-hand needle, RHN. She wants you to slip 1 stitch from your left-hand needle, which won't be one of the ones you just cast on. Remember, if you're not told what to do, slip it purlwise. So I'm going to slip the stitch over here. I'm going to slip the stitch on my left-hand needle over. So now it's with my cast-ons. Past the last cast-on stitch, which is right here, this guy right here, over this slip stitch to close the hole. So I'm going to pick it up, get my way I like to pass them over. So I'm going to get my left-hand needle under that last cast on stitch, keep my finger here if I need to pull this over. And I can even cinch it up a little bit. Here's my slip stitch. My cast on stitches, I only have 6 left plus this little slipped guy. And then she wants you to repeat between the asterisks. And that means go back up to the very first asterisk you can see on this round, which says knit to your next marker. So this one is done. We have a sleeve here on a holder. We've got our added stitches, and the instructions say to knit to your next marker, which is going to be your other sleeve. It's way, I can't even see it. It's way over here. I'm going to knit over there and I'll see you over there. Coming up on the marker here. Now, I did not say as we took off for this side, she said repeat between the asterisks once more, but do not place any more markers between the cast on stitches, because we made a new end of round marker over on the other sleeve. We don't need one over here. So we're going to follow everything she said to do except for the placing of a new marker. So I've knit to my sleeve marker. I'm going to take this one off, bring the yarn to the front, slip the next stitch purlwise, return the yarn to the back between the needles, slip that stitch that we just slipped over back to its home, I like to say. And now we want to place the stitches between the markers. Check your stitch count, but what we should be doing here is placing the stitches onto a holder. So I'm going to once again do that with my barber cord. Attach the end of the tube to my needle. Get these bunched up, and then I can just slide them over. It's kind of awesome. And then if I need to, I dig my nail in here a little bit to get it off. Keep my needle safe. Tie my ends together so that it's on a holder that's not going to fall off. Now the instructions say to remove this other marker. We don't need our sleeve increase markers anymore. Turn the work. I've turned my work around. Cable cast on 3 stitches. Remember, cable cast on. My working yarn is now right up against my left needle. That's okay. Stick my needle between the first and second stitches. Yarn over, pull that yarn over through, stick it back on your left hand needle. If you yank this one too super tight, it's hard to do the next one. That was one. Put my right hand needle between the first and second stitches again, totally between and under. Wrap around or pick, pull that back through, stick it on. That's 2. Go between the first and the second and under as cleanly as you can. Wrap around, pull up. That's 3. Now the instructions say to place a marker, but remember this is the second repeat and it says not to do it this time. So I just need to do 4 more. So I'm going to start my count over again, go between my first and my second. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now she says to turn your work around again, flip it around. So now the cast on, and I'm going to pull the yarn underneath to be kind of under to the back. The cast on is now on your right hand needle, and your remaining stitches are over on your left hand needle. Now again, she says slip 1 stitch from your left hand needle, slip it purlwise when in doubt, over to your right, past the last cast on stitch. So the cast on stitches are the ones that have nothing underneath them. They're over the gap. Pick up that last one. I like to do it with my left hand needle and pull it over and off. Notice my fingers back there to keep that slip stitch from falling off. pull the working yarn, she actually, I don't know if I did that on the other side. I might have intuitively done that. That really wraps around and grabs that slip stitch. Now, she says after we've finished the repeat between the asterisks, now knit to the next marker, which is our previous end of round marker in the center of the back. Let's get over to that and see what the end of this row is. So I'm coming up on my old end of round marker in the middle of the back, which was my triangle one here. And I'm going to remove it. So all of the markers I had on before are gone. To finish this row though, I need to knit over to my new end of round marker, which is under a sleeve. So let's do that before we part ways today. Here I am coming over my cast on, and the size may feel weird with these, but just try to keep going. There's my new end of round marker. I'm just knitting a couple passes so I don't lose my marker. But now it says you're ready to skip to the instructions for section 6, which is the lower body. Here we can see I've got sleeve separated and on holders, and sleeve separated and on holders. And I'm ready to knit my torso down here. Thanks for joining us today for the sleeve separation. For the long sleeves, again, I've got my sleeves on holders now, because I'm going to come back and finish the sleeves off. This can be used for everything but the absolute shortest of sleeves. The shortest sleeves on this are just binding off these stitches instead of putting them on a holder. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do a video on that, but follow the instructions. They should make a lot of sense. Even if you're doing a little cap sleeve and coming back and just putting some ribbing on those sleeves, it's helpful to do the long sleeve version. So thank you for joining us today. Go join the Facebook knit along group that we have at Sundragon KAL. If you'd like to see how other people are doing and ask them some questions, I answer what I can, but it's really great to have a resource of lots of people there, so you don't have to rely on waiting for me to get back to you. Little old one of me, many of you. As I said in the beginning, consider subscribing, thumbs up, commenting. Those are free ways to help the channel. If you appreciate the work we're doing to make these videos available for free, please consider a donation to the shop. And you can do that by becoming a member here or becoming a patron over on patreon.com/sundragon. Thank you all for participating in this, watching this, crafting with us, and may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. You think I'll pay attention to you if you're on my knitting? Yeah, the answer is probably yes. Okay. Scratch yourself, just don't scratch my knitting, okay? Okay.